This Houston Texans offense is going to be exciting, and it's going to be one of the reasons why this team is fighting for a playoff spot at the end of the year. What is going on, everyone? My name is Ruben Calvillo, and welcome to the 713 Houston Sportcast. I drop daily Houston Texans content. Make sure you guys are tapped in. Training camp is less than 7 days away, and I myself will be at every single one. So follow my TikTok, my Instagram, my Twitter. Stay tapped in. Now, this Houston Texans offense is going to be led by new offensive coordinator Bobby Slowick. He came with head coach D'Amico Ryans from the San Francisco 49ers, and Coach Slowick is going to be establishing his own Shanahan offense here for the Houston Texans. And if you remember, not too long ago, the Houston Texans ran the same type of offense under head coach Gary Kubiak. And how special was Matt Schaub, Andre Johnson, Arian Foster, and Owen Daniels? That was an absolute deadly offense for the Texans, and that team had us believing they could contend for the Super Bowl. So I am excited to see what offensive coordinator Bobby Slowick can do in his first year with the Houston Texans. Your starting quarterback is going to be the second overall pick in this year's draft, C.J. Stroud. And C.J. Stroud is going to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. I am predicting 3,500 yards and 25 to 26 touchdowns with less than 10 interceptions. I think C.J. Stroud found his place here. He is going to show why he should have been the number one quarterback taken off of this board, and C.J. Stroud is going to absolute flourish. Your running back is going to be second-year bowling ball Dameon Pierce, and I think Dameon Pierce is going to have a 1,000, 12,000 yard season. He almost had 1,000 last year with a horrible offensive line and no really backup running back. Now it is Devin Singletary, who I think is going to have a fantastic year himself. But Dameon Pierce, I think he is going to be one of the bright spots for this Houston Texans offense, and one of the reasons why this offense is going to be successful. Now, your offensive line from left to right, it starts with number 78, the highest paid left tackle in the NFL, and that is Laremy Tunsil, who was not only going to be the captain of the offense, but the captain of the whole entire team. Every time Laremy Tunsil is in front of a camera, he is saying nothing but great things about the Houston Texans, how he believes in the direction that this organization is going. He is calling every single one of his teammates an absolute dog. I am excited for this season for Laremy Tunsil. Can he get his fourth Pro Bowl in 5 years? His first All-Pro nod. Number 78 is going to absolutely ball out. Your left guard is going to be Kenyon Green entering year 2. And I am not worried about Kenyon Green. A no participant in OTAs and camp so far. Is he even going to be there at the beginning of training camp? Now, he was the first interior offensive lineman taken off the board in last year's draft. And Kenyon Green, I've seen a Houston Texans quarterback behind a very bad offensive line. There was a stat not too long ago, and it showed the worst NFL offensive lines in history. And the Houston Texans were mentioned 3 times. 2 of them were with our first ever number 1 overall pick quarterback in David Carr. And the second one was with Massage Watson. I do not want to see C.J. Stroud go through those struggles that they did. We need to keep our quarterback upright. We need to move the pocket. We need to push the lane. And Kenyon Green is now under a microscope in year 2. Your starting center is going to be Juice Scruggs, who the Houston Texans traded for in this year's draft in the second round. A guy who broke his back, learned how to walk again, and became a hell of a football player and one of the best guard/centers in college. And he's also a very smart young man. Expect Juice Scruggs to be a captain sooner rather than later for this Houston Texans offensive line, and I think that he is going to have a very good rookie season. Your right guard is going to be Shaq Mason, who you just traded for and also given an extension. One of the only 2-3 years, the other one given to Laremy Tunsil by general manager Nick Caserio. 1 sack allowed last year. I think Shaq Mason is another veteran presence for this entire team and offense, and I think he's going to play damn well. Your right tackle is going to be Titus Howard, and Titus Howard is entering his contract year. He's made it known that he wants to be here, and we all know that there's going to be a big paycheck coming from Titus Howard. How big it is only dependent on him, but I think he's going to have a solid season for the Houston Texans at right tackle. Your leading receiver for this team is going to be tight end Dalton Schultz, who you just signed on a 1-year deal from the Dallas Cowboys. Now, in the past 3 years, you can argue that Dalton Schultz has been a top 5 tight end. 17 touchdowns, almost 3,000 yards, 200 plus targets. Dalton Schultz has been him at tight end for the past number of years. And I think he is going to be a safety blanket for CJ Stroud. And for that reason, I see him being as the leading receiver for this Houston Texans team. I am expecting a Pro Bowl season from tight end Dalton Schultz. Now, this is where it gets interesting. Who are your 3 wide receivers? Well, one of them has to be Nico Collins, or you hope so, right? Entering year 3, new head coach, new offensive coordinator, and everyone is wondering right now, what is Nico Collins' future here on this team? We already have a lot of people saying that Xavier Hutchinson, who we drafted in the 6th round, is gonna take his spot. But Nico Collins is finally gonna have the best quarterback he's ever had. He's made some plays at practice, and I could see Nico Collins being the number 1 wide receiver for this team. The number 2 wide receiver, veteran Robert Woods. Now, shout out to Landry Locker, who got this signing right all the way back in free agency. But he was very high on Robert Woods. And when Robert Woods was in this same style of offense, was very successful, multiple 1,000 yards. When he was with the Rams, he was better than Brandon Cooks on there. However, there is a lot of questions. He's up there in age. He came off of a very underwhelming season with the Tennessee Titans. He did play in all 17 games, though, after coming off an ACL injury. But I could see Robert Woods being the number 2 wide receiver for this Houston Texans team. Number 3, wide receiver Tank Dell, who you just traded up for in this year's draft. Tank Dell and CJ Stroud are already building that QB1 wide receiver 1 connection for the future, right? It goes back to the story. Tank Dell congratulates CJ Stroud on being the number 2 overall pick, and he says, "Tell them to come get me." CJ Stroud fulfills that, and the Houston Texans traded up there and got their quarterback, his wide receiver. You love to hear that. You love to hear that these two are also very tight at the combine and have been building a chemistry since being drafted together. But I think Tank Dell ends up as your wide receiver 3. Honorable mention, John Mechie. Once again, I am excited for him to be back. I think he could be a playmaker for the Houston Texans. But coming back from cancer isn't a joke. It is absolutely crazy. And we should just be happy that John Mechie is playing football, playing football again. And any type of production we get for him should be just icing on the cake for this offense. You guys let me know how you feel about the starting 11 players for this Houston Texans 2023 offense. I'm feeling excited about it. You guys should too. Go Houston Texans. Have a very blessed day.